Here's 5 more mistakes to not make in your new business. Hi, I'm Alison. I'm a CPA in private tax practice with 20 years, more than 20 years experience, 20 years in my own practice, but more than that in other people's practices. So here's 5 more mistakes, and I'll put a link to the other video with the first 5 mistakes, but 5 more mistakes to not make in your small business. First one, not collecting sales tax. How do you know if you're supposed to collect sales tax? You know, it varies from state to state, and it can be quite a mess. And it varies, and I'm in the great state of North Carolina, who says they're trying to shift more from a sales tax base than an income tax base. But that means that they're taxing certain services, which used to be something that was completely off limits, no tax on services. Some states still don't tax services. Some states put sales tax on everything. So not collecting your sales tax, that's huge. Number 2, when you collect your sales tax, not remitting it. That ain't something to play with. Pay your sales tax. And that goes right into my third thing to not do as a small business: financing ongoing operations with fiduciary taxes or fiduciary money. You might not know what that term means. I remember thinking that was a weird term when I was in college. What does it mean, fiduciary money? Sales tax and payroll tax doesn't belong to you. Never did, never will. It's withheld from your customers and your employees. And I tell you what, even if you're your own employee, IRS sees the employee and the business as 2 separate things, and it's still theft, even though it might just be your money. But they see it as theft, and that is a huge deal. Clients come to me all the time, I just want to stay out of jail, That is something that will put you in jail. Not paying your sales tax, not paying your payroll tax. And it's really easy to accidentally spend it because it's not due until the next month or the next quarter or the next, and you're down to 0 because you had to pay a vendor and you don't even realize you spent your sales tax money. Don't do it. Get some help, or at the very least, have a savings account where you sweep that money in there. And now here, I'm going to get into a long video. I'm trying to make these really brief. Number 4 thing that you should not do, a mistake to not make, not filing a return because you can't file the tax. Now, I'm particularly thinking payroll tax and sales tax, but it goes for any kind of tax return. There are a multitude of penalties, but primarily in income tax return, you have failure to pay, failure to file, and underpayment penalties. So if you don't file that tax return, and there's other penalties in sales tax and payroll tax, but if you don't file the return, you have penalties for not filing that. You can make that go away just by filing the return. If you're not even exactly sure if it's right, file it and then amend it. I mean, you need to have the right data, but you need to file those returns. Don't avoid filing return because you can't pay the tax. And number 5, some other tax preparers might get onto me about this one, but I would say don't pay old tax liabilities before you pay the new, especially when it comes to sales tax and payroll tax. You can end a lot of penalties by holding that one period and paying the future periods and financing the old period. But that's a tax strategy that you would need to talk to a professional like me about. But there's things like that that can help you minimize penalties. You don't want to be run out of business because all your profit's eaten up in tax penalties, right? So there's 5 more things to avoid, 5 more mistakes to avoid making. Obviously, I'm not a content creator. I'm a tax preparer. But if this content is helpful, useful, encouraging, informative, please subscribe to my channel and like and share the video, because that would really push it out. That convinces YouTube that it's worth it for other people to see it. And I would really appreciate that. Thanks.